Welcome to lesson 7.2. How does consumer behavior affect quality of life for individuals and groups in Canada and the United States? We're seeing that word again, quality of life. So we're going to see how, let's say, your buying power is going to affect your quality of life. So stick around and let's learn something. All right, welcome to 7.2, lesson 7.2. How does consumer behavior affect quality of life for individuals and groups here for us in Canada and in the United States? We're going to start off with consumer behavior. This is the choices that we make as a consumer definitely affects our society. It corresponds to the jobs that people have, and it also corresponds to the quality of our environment, because the things that we are consuming, they're taking up space, they need to be produced, there's going to be waste that's attached to that. So it definitely has a far reaching effects on our society. And there are 5 factors that affect consumer behavior: identity, health and safety, jobs, environment, which we already mentioned, and marketing. So we're going to start, first of all, with our identity. How does being a consumer affect our identity? Well, think of the clothes that you wear. What does your clothing say about your beliefs and your values? What does your clothing say about your quality of life? Are you somebody that has a particular style? Why do you have that style? When you get dressed in the morning, or if you pick out your clothes at night, and obviously you're looking in the mirror at some point, why did you pick why did you pick what you're wearing? Is it because everybody else is wearing it? Is it because nobody else is wearing it and you want to stand out as an individual? Are you wearing a uniform and so that it matches everybody else? Are there particular colors that you have? Maybe have pictures of bands on your shirt and your clothing? Are there certain colors that you stick to? All of that corresponds to your identity. So one of the things that we look for when we're purchasing something is we relate it to our identity. Who are we as a person? Another factor that plays a role in consumer behavior is health and safety. Now, this next slide that I'm going to show you is going to deal with health and safety. And you're going to see some images on here that are not going to be very nice images. So I'm just giving you a warning. If you want to cover the right-hand side of the slides that are coming up, it's going to have some kind of queasy-looking pictures, and it has to do with cigarettes. So this is the next factor. It's health and safety. Our laws here in Canada, our federal laws require that, let's say, cigarettes, for example, have warnings on those packages. Warnings of what can happen to you if you consume these products. This is an example. We learned this during our economics chapter. The government is deciding to do this. There's a law. So we are shifting to the left. There's government involvement here. The purpose of these warnings is to deter people from smoking, especially from beginning to smoke. And despite these warnings and despite everything that we know about cigarettes, people are still buying these products. I could say the same for vaping or alcohol or anything like that, but the example that I'm using here is going to be with cigarettes. Sometimes governments will ban products altogether. So let's take a look at the Edmonton Public School Board, for example. They've banned all of their junk food from their vending machines in their schools. Edmonton Catholic Schools, a few years later, also did the same thing. The City of Calgary, at the municipal level of government, they've banned all their restaurants from using trans fats. It's just not healthy for people. So the municipal government has taken it upon themselves to ban those fats from being used in restaurants. There's even at the federal level, I talked about the cigarette warnings, but even at the federal level in both Canada and the United States, there's legislation that revolves around health and safety of consumers. So all food, let's say, for example, the cosmetics that you might go buy from the mall, all of their ingredients must be listed, because those ingredients, number one, you're putting these into your body, so you want to know what you're putting into your body, and number two, what if you have some sort of reaction to it? And this picture here has to do with health and safety. This is a picture of my Jeep. This used to be my Jeep. I was involved in a collision many years ago, and as you can see on this picture, the Jeep was completely destroyed. I was in a head-on collision. The United States, in the United States, all vehicles after a certain year must have airbags and seatbelts. In Canada, only a seatbelt is what is required. Another factor that affects consumer behavior is jobs. If you purchase a product, you are employing someone. Our spending is important in both the mixed and market economies. Our spending usually relates to a profit for a company, which gets then turned to the wages for employees and whatnot. And here in Canada, we spend over 400 billion, that's right, billion with a B, 400 billion on products and services. And in North America, even though it says here the United States, but in North America, Canada, and United States specifically, our spending that we do as a consumer accounts for 70% of our economic activity. That is massive. We need to be spending money to keep the economy moving. If the profits of a business or a company fall, unfortunately, then people will lose their jobs. So therefore, if that's the case, our spending as a consumer equals jobs. Now let's take a look at this pen here. Okay, how does this pen, a simple ballpoint pen, the clicky clickerson pens that I often hear in class, how does this contribute to our economy? Well, who makes that pen? You have to get that pen from somewhere. So wherever it is that you're buying this pen, now your individual pen is not going to, create jobs for somebody, but as a whole, in bulk, that pen definitely will. It employs the people at the stores. It employs the people who have to transport that pen from the factory to the stores. It employs the people at the factories that have to make those pens. And it also employs the people who supply the materials, whether it's the plastic materials or whether it's the metal materials that go into that pen. Yeah, those single individual pen is maybe $1. I don't know how much is a regular pen, but en masse, in bulk, that pen is going to supply a lot of people in a whole chain of events with some jobs. The next factor that we are going to take a look at is the environment. Your choice in what you're going to buy is going to affect the air, water, and land from which that product is produced. So think of that pen, for example. What's going to happen to the packaging of that pen if you buy this in a 3-pack or a 5-pack or a 7-pack? Some sort of packaging is going to have to is probably going to have to happen for that pen. And did you know that packaging makes up for 1/3 of the waste in North America? Well, that is a lot. And a lot of resources goes into packaging, okay? Probably about 1/4 of all plastic products in the US, okay? We're taking a look at this pen, and we've got the plastics that you need, so it has to be manufactured. The ink has to come from organic compounds, and the metals have to come from somewhere. Copper, zinc, tungsten, where are these metals going to come from? They're going to be mined. Where are they going to be mined? Somewhere on this planet, like in this example here, this picture here. This is a copper mine which is found in or near Salt Lake City down in the States, right? This is the largest human man-made hole on Earth, and it's getting the metals that we as consumers are demanding go into our products. So how can the government get involved here? How can the government move to the left and get more involved? Well, both Canada and the United States have laws that relate to the consumer spending and the environment. So for example, both Canada and the United States have banned leaded gasoline for cars. And if you take a look at the Energuide label, this is like the Canadian Energuide label, both countries, Canada and the US, require new appliances to have these labels So a conscious consumer can go and shop for the best possible, most energy efficient appliance when they're in the market to buy a new appliance. And it'll tell you, how many kilowatt hours per year a particular, let's say in this case, appliance is going to use. But we see this on cars, we see this on appliances. It's not the only place that we're going to see this. Another factor, the last factor that we're going to talk about, is marketing. Marketing is huge. I'm not going to lie. Marketing is huge. I have fallen for many products because of excellent marketing by a company. Both Canada and the United States, there's legislation that exists that affects what can be said in ads, because advertising, marketing has a huge effect on consumers. Advertisements cannot be false. Advertisements cannot make misleading claims about a product or service. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I've seen ads like that. Not necessarily. They have to be very careful. There's a very fine line, and advertisers are very good at hugging that line very, very close. In Canada, we have something called the Competition Act that enforces these rules, and it's there to make sure that companies and businesses and services and products, that fair business practices are followed, and it's there not to mislead people. However, it is there to influence people because, let's be honest, advertising is everywhere. We see them when we go to the hockey games or basketball games, football games. They're on the buses, they're on the trains, inside the washrooms, they're on TV. They are everywhere. They're online. I know this YouTube channel where you're watching this lesson from, unfortunately, even though I have it set that this channel is made for kids, there are still ads that pop up at the beginning of these videos, and it drives me insane because I'm here to teach you about the curriculum in grade 9 social, and you're seeing some sort of ads, and it drives me nuts. And side note, just so you know, I do not make money from this channel. This channel is purely because I have a passion for teaching. No money is generated from this channel. Okay. Now, there are 6 techniques that advertisers use, that marketers use. Number 1 is the bandwagon effect, then emotional appeal, glittering generalities, say that 100 times, plain folks appeal, say that 100 times, testimonials, and scientific appeal. And I'm going to spend a quick minute here going through each of these techniques that are used. The bandwagon effect. This encourages you to buy a product because everybody else is buying this product. Like the Maybelline ad here, America's favorite mascara. This makes you think that everybody in America, in the States, or maybe even in Canada, is using this mascara. The second technique that's often used, emotional appeal. Aw, look at that little duck. Look how cute that duck is. Emotional appeal will use strong emotional language, or in this case, pictures that connects with your fears and maybe even your desires. The emotional appeal is related to your own individual psychological and social needs for purchasing certain products and services. I'm going to be honest with you. I buy Dawn Ultra. I do because every time I'm in the grocery store and I walk past the aisle and if I need dish soap, think of these little ducks that get cleaned by Dawn soap. Many consumers are emotionally motivated or driven to make these purchases. I'm always buying Dawn because of the ads. That's the way it goes. Okay, this emotional appeal, it includes personal and social aspects and makes you really want this product, and you can't live without. Okay, I can live without the Dawn soap. There's other soap that I can buy, but I'll tell you that this duck and the commercial gets me every time. Then, next up on the advertisement techniques, glittering generalities, relates the product or service to words or images that promise everything, but deliver little or deliver nothing. L'Oreal Paris here. Okay, well, you're going to become a lash millionaire. You see that millionaire, you're thinking money, 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 right? It's going to be a lot of money, but really it's going to do the same thing as any other product, really. Okay, advertisers, they know that lots of people don't like when we've got, famous people on. So they will use plain folks appeal, hey, relating a product or a service to the experience of ordinary people. If you see an advertisement that has, let's say, somebody that looks similar to you or is of your culture or looks like mom or dad or grandma and grandpa, are you more likely to purchase that product? Yeah, probably, because you could probably then see yourself using that product. Next up in the advertiser's toolbox, testimonials. Okay, marketers, advertisers, companies, they'll use celebrities, they'll use experts to speak for a product. Okay, LeBron James and his Nike ad, sorry, but if you are a LeBron James fan, you're wearing Nikes. It's just the way it goes. And then the last technique that is used, scientific appeal. Go to your bathroom right now. What kind of toothpaste do you have? Because toothpaste brands do this a lot. They use stats or they use some sort of scientific data to get the consumer to buy that product or that service. And let me tell you, toothpaste companies are known for their scientific data. How many doctors recommend Colgate over some other brand and things like that. So they'll use stats and they'll use scientific data to get you to buy something. All right, I want you to head over to your notebooks and complete the questions for this part of the chapter.